The vast majority of men are drawn to women in the same way that a moth is drawn to the moonlight. Unfortunately for moths and for men, this metaphor gets worse because just like moths confuse firelight for moonlight, men confuse the relationships they're finding with women with nirvana. They think they're finding something that they're not. They believe they're finding their instinctual home, some place where there's peace and happiness and joy. Just like the moth following the moon to wherever it's going, only to get burned up and destroyed by their mistake. Today, I want to talk a little bit about what men expect from women in relationships, what they get wrong, and how we can change it. This is Life 2.0. Let's talk about it. The biggest mistake that men make when it comes to women is they don't understand that women don't understand men. I know that sounds confusing, so let me just clear it up. Women see men as subhuman. Now, before everyone gets upset here, let me just explain this out a little bit more. Women hold themselves to an idealized standard of what an ideal woman would do under the similar circumstances. So in their heads, they have this idealized version of a woman. And they hold themselves to this standard all the time. And when they're not reaching that standard, well, they condemn themselves. They, beat themselves up. They have all kinds of, self-hate issues, and that's why they're in therapy and they're all on drugs. It's because they're not reaching the standard that they hold for themselves. Now, what most men don't understand is that women are also holding men to the same standard. When a man behaves in a certain way, a woman is asking, is that what a woman would do? Is that the way I would handle it? Is that what my idealized version of a woman would do? And of course, most times it's not. And that's why men get into so much trouble, is that they're acting like men and women are holding them to this idealized female standard, and there's no way that the man can live up to it. Now, the way this ends up rolling out in most cases is the woman internalizes it at first. So you do your thing as a man, you behave in a certain way, or you respond in a certain way to some issue, whatever it may be, and she's going to see it as lacking from that idealized version. Now, her first reaction is going to be, well, obviously, I must not be good enough to expect the kind of reaction that I deserve being in that idealized state of mind. So she beats up on herself first. Her own self-esteem takes a hit when you don't respond the way that she thinks the idealized woman would respond. So when you don't live up to that idealized view of femininity, she's going to internalize that and think that she's not good enough. But that's only going to happen for a while. Eventually, she's going to think, well, it's probably not me. It's him. He's the idiot. He's obviously not as good as I thought. He's not living up to this. It's not me not being deserving of it. It's him not being good enough for me. And here's where the problem starts, is that he's not good enough for me. And that's where we get this subhuman interpretation of men from the perspective of women. That's why we get so much negative feedback, because they're thinking that you're not good enough for me, plain and simple, because what I believe I need myself to live up to is something that you can't even begin to compare to. You're just a really bad, hairy woman. That's what you guys are. You're not even close to being as evolved as we are as women, because we all are striving for this idealized feminine version of ourselves. And you guys don't even understand what that is. So of course you suck as women. Now, the irony here is it doesn't matter whether you're blue pill or red pill when it comes to these desires and reactions that you get from women. It's just a matter of time. So what most blue pill men think is that they have fooled the women enough that they are going to avoid the consequences of being a man. The vast majority of them will not. Eventually, they're going to have to come to terms with the fact that they are a man. They're going to behave in some manly, masculine way, and they're going to find themselves not meeting the expectations of their woman. And she's going to start to think, he's subhuman. He's a bit of an idiot. He's a really hairy, bad woman. And depending on the nature of the woman that you're with, there's a very good chance that she's going to find some other fresh, new blue pill guy to hang out with. All right, let's start the list. So, more than anything, in a relationship, when a man seeks out a woman, the primary thing that he's seeking is peace. Yes, he thinks he's going to get peace. He's thinking about how this relationship is going to create a home. And this home is associated with a sanctuary. This is a place where a man can go and be himself and live in peace. However, the reality of it is women bring chaos. They do not bring peace. They bring arguments all the time. Women love to argue. This is something that men generally don't do when we're among ourselves. If two men get into an argument, and I remember having this happen when I was a kid, so I learned this firsthand, there's a good chance in this argument that somebody's going to get punched in the face. Now, over the course of my childhood and adolescence, I have been involved in a couple of these arguments. You don't have to get punched in the face too many times before you come to the conclusion that arguing may not be the best way of communicating to resolve a problem. So men tend to go into problem-solving mode. Rather than having an argument where someone will get punched in the face, or worse, someone could die, let's solve a problem. Men love puzzling out problems. Women see our desire to solve a problem as an opening to an argument. So when there's a difference of opinion or a problem between a man and a woman, the woman wants to fight about it. She wants to argue about it. And that's the last thing a man wants to do. He wants to figure it out. He wants to find a solution. He's trying to problem solve this issue. He's not trying to fight over it. But women don't understand that. When a woman isn't getting what she wants, she becomes this fearful child. And that's why the arguments occur. And this fearful child is trying to find acceptance in your agreement with her perspective. And so when you're involved in an argument with a woman and you don't agree with her perspective for any reason at all, even having the ability to agree to disagree is just not acceptable, because she thinks that you're obviously either dumb or you're lying. You're defective in some way. The next thing we men are looking for is partnership. And with that partnership comes friendship and loyalty and acceptance. These are the kinds of things that we get from other men, and we value it highly. Respect, that's another one that comes with friendship. These are the things that we take for granted. So we just naturally assume that friendship would be a part of a romantic relationship, especially a marriage. That friendship would be key to that. And as part of that friendship would come the loyalty, the respect, and the acceptance. That is not what women bring to the table. No, they do not bring friendship, loyalty, or respect to the table. Men are looking for kindness, support, nurturing, connection. These are the kinds of things that we're hoping to find in a relationship. Women do not see their role as providing those kinds of qualities in a relationship with their man. Like I said earlier, men are subhuman, and kindness is something that they will dole out based on your behavior. Just like you would for the dog. I give the dogs treats when they're behaving well, and I tell them no when they're not. And she's going to treat you in a little slightly more sophisticated way than that, but it's going to be similar. And so you're going to find that kindness is dependent on your behavior. Kindness is not something that she's going to bring naturally to the relationship. She will tell you, as they did in that study that I talked about in my video last week, that kindness is a very revered value that women have for men. That's what they say they want from men. But it's not something that they bring to the table willingly or easily or without condition. So kindness is one of those things that we're probably not going to see. Now, I am generalizing here, just FYI. I realize that, and I'm sure that there are going to be people in the comments that say, oh, no, John, you're wrong. I have a really kind woman. And I know that they're out there. I've actually met a handful of super, super kind women who really just put other people's needs ahead of their own, and they do it joyfully. And those people are just saints, and you do come across them from time to time. But they're just not common. It's just not a common experience. We men who have grown up in this blue pill era of femininity and feminism also have caught on to the zeitgeist in our culture that women seem to have some insight into the universe, into intellectual pursuits and spirituality and all that stuff as well. They call themselves emotionally intelligent, which is not a thing, but okay, we'll go with it. You know, see if I can crack the code. Maybe I can take this information and make myself a better person. Perhaps being with her will make me a better person. And I think that it will, but not for that reason. Because they don't have that. They just don't. If you become a better person from being with a woman, it's going to be because you had to develop patience and understanding. You know what I mean? It's not because she was able to teach you something or she was able to provide you with some insights that you didn't already have. It's because she's going to frustrate you so much and she's going to make you so angry at times that you're going to need to draw on powers of patience that you never knew existed. You're going to have to become monk-like and saint-like in your behaviors in order to avoid just walking out one day, because they will frustrate you beyond your ability to understand. They do not have an insight into the universe. They're not bringing anything special to this relationship. You're not going to find what you're looking for in them. You're going to have to find it somewhere else. You can read about it, you can go to the Himalayas, you can do whatever you want to do. You'll find it somewhere, but you're not going to find it in her. She's not going to teach it to you. Being in this relationship will teach you a lot. Not what you're looking for, but you will learn a lot about yourself and relationships by being in a relationship with a woman. No question about it. And of course, the big thing that men want in relationships with women is physical intimacy, physical connection. Because it is through this physical connection that we develop an emotional connection. Like with men, we are we're friends with one another, we're loyal to one another, we respect one another. But obviously, for the vast majority of men, you're not going to have that level of connection that you can have with a woman. And sex is that defining difference. When a man has sex with a woman, especially a woman that he's in a relationship with, it builds a bond, an emotional, psychological, intellectual, spiritual bond. And every time that sex occurs, that bond is refreshed. It feels stronger and healthier, and men need it. Men need it to be in relationships with women. Women see sex as a way to attract men. Women see sex as a tool they can use to draw a man in. They do not see sex as a way of connecting in the same way. So guys, the next time you see a woman, you just think about that moth, you know, thinks he's flying into the moon, following the moonlight to nirvana. In reality, there's a very good chance that that light you see is a burning hot flame and you will get destroyed by it. Keep that concept in your head, because we tend to idealize women. We tend to see them as being these wonderful creatures that we want to have in our lives. We are drawn to their femininity in a way that we cannot understand. And even when you have all the red pill information in your head, it's very easy to lose it in an instant under the right conditions and to fly into that fire. The best thing that you can do is, if you're going to get into a relationship with a woman, if you're going to take that chance, you're going to fly close to those flames, you've got to have one foot in your rational mind. You've got to keep a rational tether all the time. Allow yourself to experience the emotions and the fun and all the joy that can come from a really fun romantic relationship and all the sex and all that stuff. But don't allow yourself to get so close to the fire that you lose your rational tether. So I like to think of it as having one half of your body, one half of your mind, one half of your heart in the relationship, fully, just fully in there. But you've got this rational side of your mind that is still active and on. So it's like you're thinking with a little head sometimes, but you're thinking with the big head most of the time. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to talk about. You never let yourself get lost in the relationship. Because if you do that, you're going to be entering in her frame. You're going to end up falling into her world. You're going to be crossing over your boundaries. She's going to be shit testing you, and you're going to be failing and failing and failing because you just want to please her so much. And when you do that, she loses respect for you and you are on the downward spiral. It's just a matter of time from that point forward until she leaves you. So if you're going to play with fire, if you're going to fly into the light, try to keep that tether, that rational tether, Keep your rational mind active. Don't allow yourself to get lost in the haze of that, that post-sex pillow talk, and you think, oh, this is the best thing ever. And it is, but it's an illusion. Just enjoy it for what it is. It's like going on vacation, Yeah, you go on vacation, you go someplace fun, you pretend that you're there the whole time, and you experience what it's like to be there, but all the while you've got to go home eventually. And your rational mind is home. And always go home. Get back to your rational self and look at the relationship for what it is and understand her behaviors from a rational perspective so that you can be clear-headed about the decisions you make and the way you allow this relationship to evolve. All right, you guys, that's all I got for you today. I certainly hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe. If you know some guys that are going through some difficult times with their women, please share this with them. Perhaps it'll give them some insights and help them understand where they're coming from a little bit. Anyway, until next time, stay healthy, and if you can, stay single.